One of the things leadership eventually teaches you is this: not every decision happens in the meeting where it appears to be decided. Sometimes the decision was already made long before anyone walked into the room. Early in your career, that idea feels strange. You assume meetings are where decisions happen. The room fills with smart people. Spreadsheets appear. Slides go up on the screen. The conversation sounds analytical, strategic, objective. But if you spend enough time around organizations, you'll start to notice something. Sometimes the discussion moves, but the outcome never really changes. Different arguments, different language, same destination. And eventually, you realize something important. The real decision isn't being made in that room. It was made earlier, sometimes weeks earlier, sometimes months earlier. And it was usually made by something quieter than a vote. Incentives, politics, momentum. Or simply the fact that someone powerful had already made up their mind. I remember a moment years ago that made this lesson very clear to me. The leadership team I was part of had been under pressure. The results weren't where they needed to be, and it was clear the parent organization overseas was paying attention. Eventually, a group of senior leaders flew in from Europe. They scheduled meetings with each of us individually. Not short meetings, hours. One by one, we went into a room and sat across the table from them. They asked questions about the business, about the numbers, about what was working and what wasn't. It felt less like a conversation and more like a very long interview. When I finished my session, I walked out into the hallway where another member of the leadership team was waiting for his turn. I looked at him and said, "Dude, we just interviewed for our jobs." He laughed, but I was not joking. A few weeks later, it became clear what had happened. Leadership changes were made across the organization. Roles shifted. People moved, some people left. And in hindsight, the realization was pretty simple. Those meetings weren't about deciding what to do. The decision had already been made. Those meetings were about confirming who would still be there afterward. That's one of the lessons leadership eventually teaches you. Early in your career, you believe meetings are where decisions happen. Experience changes that belief. Experience teaches you that leadership is often about understanding the system around the decision. Who carries influence? Where the incentives point? Where the pressure is coming from? Because once you see the system clearly, you start asking a different question. Not just what decision should be made, but whether the decision has already been made. And when you recognize that moment, leadership becomes personal again. You can go along with the momentum, or you can challenge it. Neither choice is easy. But recognizing that moment when the outcome is already determined, that's when leadership really begins. That's the Chaudron Effect. We'll continue one conversation at a time.